Hello guys, welcome back to my podcast, Conversations with Zelia, with your host, Zelia Lorraine. Today is Thursday, September 5th, 2024, and in today's episode, we'll discuss The Berniemac Show. In this episode titled, The Berniemac Show Retrospective. Now, The Berniemac Show was one of my favorite shows growing up as a kid, since I'm a 2000s baby and I grew up watching the show when it first aired, and when it was syndicated on reruns on BET and other channels. And I wanted to wanted to make this video to pretty much discuss a little bit about the show and then name my top 10 favorite episodes from each season. Now, for those living in Iraq do not know what The Berniemac Show was, The Berniemac Show was a black sitcom that aired on Fox from 2001 to 2006, starring the late great Bernie Mac as a fictionalized version of himself who lives in Los Angeles with his businesswoman wife Wanda, who's the VP of a technology company. And the world turns upside down when Bernie's sister Stacy, who's an addict, has to go to rehab and leaving her three children in the care of Bernie. And those three children are Vanessa, Jordan, and Brianna. Vanessa is the oldest of the siblings who has been taking care of the siblings while her mom was pretty much on drugs, and she pretty much had it tougher when she was living with her mom, and she and Bernie butt heads throughout the series, though they do come to agreements near the end of the day. Then Jordan, the middle child, is Bernie's only nephew, he's pretty much the stereotypical black nerd character, which is always common in a lot of black sitcoms, who has four key interests that in which Uncle Bernie comes across as effeminate, which, never mind. And last but not least, there is Brianna, who's probably shown pretty much being Bernie's baby girl that he always spoils, since she isn't as troublesome as her two older siblings. Now, with Vanessa and Jordan, they share the same dad, who's been in and out of jail, which was an important storyline in the season 3 episode, Saving Sergeant Tompkins, while Brianna's dad is named Brian, played by Anthony Anderson, who appeared near the end of the series. In addition to Bernie's immediate family, there was also Bernie's inner circle, which consists of his agent, which I forgot the name of his agent, and his three poker buddies, named Kelly, Chewy, and I forgot the name of his character, but I refer to him as Broadman, since they share the same actor, who he plays poker's with, and I'll discuss his issues going on at home with. And then there's Bernie's other relative. Then there's Bernie's two siblings, his younger sister Benita, who tries to overstep her boundaries with the kids when she came to visit, and his older brother Carl, who's pretty much your typical snobby sibling, who apparently was supposed to take care of the kids, but he dodged out of the courtroom. And there's also Vanessa's friends, who always change within. They always change within different seasons, so I'm not going to name Vanessa's friends, but I'm just going to refer to them by the names I'll create in my head, since I don't remember them. But The Berniemac Show was very successful, and is probably one of Bernie Mac's best works. Which, Bernie Mac, he doesn't get the praise he gets in comparison to a lot of his contemporaries, because he's one of my all-time favorite comedians among Martin Lawrence and Chris Tucker. But the show was initially successful within Fox starting sabotaging it. First by 86ing Larry Wilmore, the co-creator and executive producer of the show, when he had pretty much had a different creative input than them. Then number 2, pairing the show up against My Wife and Kids, which was another show I grew up watching that was on ABC. That had a somewhat similar format, and then wound up, if I remember correctly, either they beat My Wife and Kids the ratings or they lost to My Wife and Kids the ratings. But to make a long story short, Fox spent the entirety of the Berniemac show's run pretty much sabotage the show. Because come the 3rd, 4th, 5th season, the show was airing on different time slots, which caused it to flunk in the ratings. And then another factor with in regards to the later season of the Berniemac show was Berniemac's health issues, which would eventually claim him in 2008, which was visible if you watch certain episodes from the later seasons. And it led to the show concluding with the episode Bernie's Angels, which aired in 2006. And to give you a little pretty much the entire, but pretty much what happens in the episode of the Berniemac show, namely, there's always some situation with the kids which Bernie tries to handle, and there's hilarity ensues. That's pretty much about it. And also, Bernie breaking the fourth wall by talking to the audience, who he refers to as America. Alongside yellow subtitles telling, pretty much stating the obvious of a certain what's going on in the situation. But today, in honor this great show, I'm naming my top 10 favorite episodes along with some honorable mentions, and considering the fact I will discuss certain plot points or explain the plot of certain episodes, there will be a spoiler alert. So if you haven't watched the show and don't want to listen to this podcast, then don't listen to the podcast. If you already watched the show, then listen to this podcast. You can watch the Berniemac show. Last time I checked was on Tubi, but the Berniemac show was available online. So be sure to check the show out. But anyways, let's get into the countdown. Now I'm going to start with season 1, the first season, where the characters get introduced, and there's a little bit more world building. In season 1, Bernie and Wanda, they take in the kids and enroll the kids in school. Vanessa gets enrolled into middle school, while Brianna gets enrolled in daycare, and Jordan gets enrolled in a Catholic school run by a priest, which I forgot the name of the priest, but I'm just referring to him as the priest character. And the whole season is pretty much Bernie and Wanda adjusting to the kids living with them. On the misadventures. So, the first episode I'm going to name from season 1 that's my favorite is Secrets and Lies. Now, in this episode, Bernie has Jordan fake an asthma attack to attend a Clippers game. A Clippers game. I don't know why I keep mispronouncing words. It pretty much has Jordan keep it a secret from Wanda, because Wanda and Bernie, they were supposed to go to some to dinner in front of his, but Bernie wound up finding out at the last minute that there was going to be a Clippers game. He has Jordan fake an asthma attack, which leaves Wanda worried. Like, as I suffer asthma, I don't know if I would fake an asthma attack just so I can attend a basketball game or some important event. But back to the story. But this goes way out of hand when Jordan starts lying just so to get out of certain things, like him lying to the nuns at his Catholic school that Wanda has some terminal illness or something to that effect. Meanwhile, Vanessa wants to watch this R-rated horror movie called Dark Deceptions, which Bernie and Wanda do not give her permission to. Which, if you really look at it, a certain situation, which would be a recurring thing, with certain situation with Vanessa and Bernie, most of the time, Bernie's at the right because who want their preteen or teenage needs to watch a crazy horror movie, an R-rated horror movie. But then again, in my upbringing, when I was a kid, I watched movies that was that I shouldn't be watching, but I digress. And someone's burning, and Bernie's trying to fix the bed because someone kept jumping on it, which we find out who at the end. But everything comes to a head when the gardeners cut down the cherry tree that Wanda planted in her yard, which she didn't plant, which I don't know what purpose that she planted it for besides looking at being an eyesore, but she was so angry that she pretty much fired the gardener, not to mention she has an eyebrow appointment that falls the same day of Brianna's recital. And pretty much Bernie realizes that the person that it was Jordan that cut down cherry tree. Then during dinner, pretty much Jordan and Bernie slightly hint to each other their lies. Jordan with Bernie having him fake it as a detective, sneak out to the Clippers game. Then Bernie with Jordan cutting down Wanda's cherry tree, in which they wind up outing each other. And Jordan winds up telling what led to him cutting down Wanda's cherry tree. He and a friend of his, they were playing ball, and the tree was getting in her way, so he told the gardener to cut down the cherry tree, which Wanda was upset about because at first she had to fire the gardener. And then Bernie makes note how they have families, big ones, which, if you don't get the joke, is reference to how a lot of Latino families have large families. Get it? Cue the rum shot. And I think you make a little correction. It was the gardener that told Bernie that Jordan did it. But pretty much Wanda chastises Bernie and Jordan and compares them to the family in the Dark Deceptions, in which Vanessa indirectly let slip that she watched the movie by revealing a spoiler from the movie, namely she brought up the floorboards. And Bernie, who watched the movie, asked her how did she do about that particular part. And Vanessa tried to lie and claim that a friend told her about it, which led to Wanda outing Vanessa. So Wanda, she was at her hair salon appointment to get her eyebrows done when she called Vanessa and her friend going out to sneak the movie, and she brought up how she and Bernie told her that she couldn't watch that movie. And then Bernie and Vanessa team up to pretty much out Wanda for missing Brianna's recital. Because what led her missing the recital was, as mentioned earlier, Wanda had an eyebrow appointment, but the person doing her appointment was running late. And by the time she arrived, it was the end of the recital. And pretty much Bernie pretty much tries to lecture the family on lying, saying that Brianna was the only one that was innocent, which leads to the family arguing with each other. Then after Bernie addresses America, it's revealed that Brianna was the reason why the bed was acting weird, showing a cutting to her jumping on the bed and the yellow subtitle stating the biggest liar of them all. And the reason why I listed this as my favorite episode because how pretty much everything snowballed. Everything but Ari thinks how Bernie having Jordan figured out to lead to a bunch of lies. And the whole ending scene of Brianna being the one that ruined the bed. And then the second episode from season 1 that I'm going to list is Handle Your Business, where the family become alienated by Bernie telling their business on a weekly get. Because for context, Bernie has some week-long guest stint on a radio show where he makes jokes about the family. Namely, jokes about the kids and their mom. But the biggest joke from that episode, that people talking about from the episode, was him stating how if Wanda were to have passed away, he would take Holly Berry with him to her funeral, which wound up ticking Wanda off. Though they want to make amends later on after the kids wind up humiliating Bernie on the show, exposing Bernie's comments about the host and his cigars. And the episode concludes with with Wanda dreamed about Bernie taking Holly Berry to the funeral, which ticks her off that she beats Uncle Bernie with a pillow. And my favorite part about that episode was the ending outtakes with Holly Berry. It's so hilarious. You have to watch it. And in season 2, that's when they started to become. There's a lot more growth in season 2. Namely, more characters, more celebrity guest stars, the kids becoming somewhat developed, yada yada yada. We get introduced to new family members. Like in the season, we're introduced to Benita, Bernie's younger sister, and Wanda's parents, played by... I forgot who played Dad, but I do know the woman that played the one that played Wanda's mother is Janet Hubert, aka the original Aunt Viv. And they're pretty much, most of the episodes these are watchable. Now, the first episode I'm going to list is Crypto Fantasy, which is the Berniemac Show's first Thanksgiving episode. In the episode, Bernie winds up developing fever dreams from eating an undercooked turkey. Namely, his personal undercooked turkey. If anyone's asking what happened, while grilling his personal turkey, Jordan, wearing a Native American costume, started harassing his sisters, which leads to them throwing the machete thingy at the grill, which landed in the marinade bowl. And when Jordan went to retrieve it, after being caught by Bernie, he left ripping off his costume, which led to the temperature changing, causing the turkey to be undercooked. And Bernie winds up having 3 fever dreams, winds up getting sick for this, was only having 3 fever dreams. The first fever dream, which is Bernie and Jordan in a Tom and Jerry claymation skit where that consists of Bernie and Jordan harming each other in very slapstick antics. which concludes with Bernie being transported to a football game. And the second fever dream, which involves Vanessa, has Bernie and Wanda on a plane flying to flying to the beach to celebrate the holidays, when Bernie gets a call from Vanessa saying that she's on the plane, which shows Vanessa as some green monster creature harassing Bernie. And she spends the entire the episode haunting Bernie, with Bernie being the only one that could see her, since she conveniently disappears when he tries to show Wanda, when he tries to show Wanda Vanessa. And as Wanda leaves to pretty much talk to the pilot, Bernie decides to take matters on his own hands and somehow climb on top of the plane, where he tries to confront Vanessa and pretty much gets rid of her by throwing the wallet, which causes Vanessa to fall. And Bernie chanting, "I saved the world! I saved the world!" And the third and last fever dream revolves Bernie coming across the kids hanging out in the living room. And he questions why they were so quiet, and Brown and Lodi, because you didn't feel well. And Bernie laments that the kids are read something out. If you didn't know any better, the kids would have been replaced by alien replicants. In which the kids start turning each other, speaking in the alien voice, with Brianna, the alien queen, instructing Vanessa and Jordan to secure Bernie, and Jordan runs to the kitchen to get probe. And Brianna telling the kids telling Vanessa, alien Vanessa, and alien Jordan to put them over the sink to probe him. Which, luckily, Bernie wakes up early from that dream. And Bernie rants to America how he's been having, in every single one of his dreams, the kids torture and kill him, and now he has to go to a dreamologist. And the episode ends with the kids visiting Bernie, offering him a piece of pumpkin pie and a taping of the game that he missed. And the post-credit scene is pretty much outtakes of the monster Vanessa fever dream, which concludes with Bernie going to the co-pilot, talking about something wrong with the engine, in which the co-pilot is revealed to be the co-pilot is revealed to be Vanessa. Oh my god! In fact, this is Berniemacshow is one of the few shows that have done Thanksgiving episodes. It is my favorite episode. My favorite Thanksgiving episode from a black sitcom, from a sitcom in general. And then the second episode that's my favorite episode is Mech Local 137, where when Bernie sees that his lawn is ruined thanks to the kids, he pretty much has the kids clean up the lawn, since it was they were the ones that made the lawn the mess it was. And but the kids, they refuse to pretty much clean up the lawn unless they get an allowance. Which leads to Bernie hiring teenagers to clean up the lawn, which pisses Wanda. And also the kids sabotaging him by pretty much leaving a mess in the kitchen, having him drink coffee out of a different cup and all that. In the second half of the episode, the kids decided to go. During their strike, they decided to pretty much move out of the house to live in a tent where they are eating cookies. And Bernie spends the eternity of the time in the tent to antagonize them, grilling ribs and sprinkling water at their tent. The first to pretty much return to the home is Brianna, who is allowed out of the tent to use the bathroom. When Vanessa and Jordan realize why Brianna's taking so long, they decided to go check out. They didn't decide to go inside out. They want to go looking inside and see Brianna watching a kid show with Bernie, which Bernie gloats about, seeing how Jordan is the next to follow Brianna, which Jordan does after when Vanessa forces them to sleep on the ground in the tent. And when Vanessa wakes up, she realizes that Jordan is gone, and it cuts to Jordan and Brianna eating breakfast, in which she states Bernie's right, the boy is soft, which is one of the main things stated about Jordan and him being soft, which let's move on. And upon looking at Brianna and Jordan eating in the kitchen, she realized she was traitors, and she pretty much throws in the towel and goes inside the house, where she states how many years it will take for her to turn 18. And Bernie pretty much has a talk with Vanessa when they want to make amends. And during his monologue to America, the three boys he hired, they're shown doing chores for Bernie. Which I find this episode hilarious because of pretty much the whole life-esque scene of Vanessa, Jordan, and Brianna working like prisoners, and Vanessa getting shot at and deciding to go back to work where she tried to take a break or leave. And then season three, that's when, at this point in the show, to season 3, there's a lot more world building, namely, we're introduced to the extended members of Bernie's family in the family reunion episode, namely, which I'll discuss later on as the honorable mentions. Not to which I may get this season wrong, but that's when the kids, there's a lot more storylines involving the children. But continuing on, but another story. The first favorite episode of season 3 is Groovy and Groovy, where Bernie decides to star in a kids movie featuring Brianna's favorite character, Droopy, to appease Brianna. But when Bernie is depicted as the main villain attacking Droopy, Brianna pretty much turns against them. And Brianna spends the entirety of the episode making up to Brianna first by having his agent set up a play date with Brianna and Drury. To prove that him and Drury are friends. If those asking, you find it asinine, you gotta really look at it. Brianna's a little girl, and we all know that little kids, they can't separate fantasy from reality. Which wind up working, but since Brianna believes that Brianna believes Drury and Bernie are buddy-buddy. Then, after the play date, it cuts to Drury rubbing his head, in which it's none other than David Faustino, aka Bud from Married with Children. And he and Bernie chat about how a few months ago he went from dealing with water to playing Drury, and now unexpectedly he attracted a lot of women for his role as Drury, and how one of those women he slept with, which is Christina Applegate, the actress that plays his TV sister, wanted to make soup with him with the costume on, and has Bernie help him put up his costume. Then Bernie tries to stop the Drury suit in the trunk, which is seen by Brianna, who believes that Bernie is killing Drury, even calling him a Drury killer, when Bernie decided to take her on set. And while on set, Brianna goes inside the set, invades the set to warn Drury about Bernie going to kill him, but Bud pretty much loses it and takes off the Drury costume rant, which gets caught by Brianna, shattering her perception of Drury probably. Meanwhile, Jordan has to sell these chocolate bars just to win a bike. You know those school fundraisers where you have to sell a case of candy bars, or sell things from a catalog, and if you like a tub of cookie dough, gummy bears and all that, and if you sell a certain amount, you win certain prizes, like a pizza party or all that. Jordan is participating in that type of fundraiser, and he has to sell a certain amount of candy bars just so he can win a bike. But he's unable to sell any candy, and the stress of it leads him consuming the candy he's supposed to sell, which I can relate to, because I remember back in 6th grade when we had to sell a tray of these chocolate bars. No, a case of those chocolate bars. I remember my family, it was either in 6th grade or 4th grade, but we wound up eating some of my relatives, we wound up eating the chocolate bars that we had to sell, and my mom had to pay the school, had to pretty much pay the chocolate bars that we ate. But back to the story. And this culminates with Jordan having a dream where he not only won the bike, but he wound up being king of the school, in which Bernie, Wanda, Brianna, and Vanessa have to wait and serve for him. And Jordan winds up waking up, saying, I really need to stop eating this chocolate. It's giving me really weird dreams. And next time we see Jordan, he's talking to the priest under using a doll, saying that he has this friend, with the friend being Jordan, about who ate the chocolate bars and all that, and pretty much the priest dude scares Jordan by telling him that he'll be burning in the pits of hell if he doesn't make up for the chocolate he ate. And Jordan decides to make up the cost by selling the chocolates for double the price, which wind up catching the attention of a rival school who wind up beating him and taking his shoes. He winds up going to Vanessa, who's been doing some immature accounting, to very much get a loan from her, which he loaned from her. The most funniest scene of that episode, in my opinion, is normally, like, I found the Jordan subplot funnier than the Ruby subplot, aside from berniemac killing Ruby. Namely, the whole chocolate fever dream that Jordan has. And then the second season, 3 episodes on this, because that's my favorite, is Road to Tradition, which is the second Christmas episode from the Theberniemacshow. In this episode, Bernie wants to stick to the past holiday family traditions, namely feeling that the kids are too spoiled. Namely, the big family tradition of having a family Christmas portrait where everyone's dressed normally and posing for their picture. While Wanda is too busy trying to get gifts for her co-workers. And Bernie does this by going to the mall to get a photo taken, but while checking out the booklet, instead of pretty much having book anything for normal family portraits, they always have Christmas themed Christmas themes for the pictures, such as hip hop Christmas, country Christmas, and people posing in the Christmas tree. While the kids, they're too busy dwelling on the gifts they want. Vanessa, she wants some premium cell phone, then Jordan wants some toy, and Brianna wants some fake from Barbie dollhouse ripoff. And this winds up ending badly when Jordan gets caught stealing coins from the coin fountain, which he gets caught by the mall police. And during his commentary to America, he discussed how the traditional family portrait ripped from did showing a picture of him with his mother and siblings to that with a picture of Jordan getting arrested. And probably he spends the episode enforcing the past Christmas traditions, like having them make a gingerbread house, which in regards to personal Christmas traditions, for me, like, one of the most the Christmas traditions was watching A Christmas Story 24/7. That's the only Christmas tradition I can think of with my family. But he has them build a gingerbread house, and which Jordan semi-bastardizes by making gingerman gargoyles. Torture chambers. Oh my god. And the gingerbread house winds up getting ruined thanks to Nessa and Jordan arguing and Brianna eating some of the candies for the gingerbread house. Then they decided to go out caroling and participate in Christmas traditions. And when Bernie serves them eggnog, his eggnog. The kids, they want to start back ungrateful with Vanessa bringing up about their presents, and this leaves Bernie to pretty much get their Christmas presents early. Then meanwhile, Wanda, she is having a hard time with the gift giving, with giving her co-workers gifts, which Wanda tried to console. Then the kids want to probably saying that someone stole their Christmas presents. He wasn't chastising them, and he and Wanda, they go on a ride to do their little Christmas tradition, which is driving around looking at houses, looking at decorated festive houses. A lot of the kids, they're back watching Christmas movies, and then they get a visit from their neighbors, the Leversteins, who gives them the homemade Christmas trees they made in those tin thingies, I forgot those tin containers with the Leversteins leaving a yellow caption saying how that the neighborhood hates them, which I don't know why, but. And during their ride looking at the Christmas lights, Wanda talks to Bernie about how he should have gave them their Christmas presents early, which leads them getting they want to make their new Christmas traditions, which is pretty much eating a meal from Whataburger and consuming the eggnog that Jordan tried to make. And Wanda and Bernie wishing everyone a Merry Christmas in the credits. And then season 4, that's when, in my opinion, season 4 to 5, that's when the quality of the episodes that started to decline those were part known because of Fox throwing the show over, but also because of Bernie's health issues, which was obvious in certain episodes. To the point, it was hard for me finding a lot of favorite episodes from those 2 seasons. But season 4, the first episode from season 4 is Big Brother, where Bernie overhears a conversation from Vanessa and her friend Terry that when Terry offers her a cigarette and Vanessa says no because how she took one and she wound up throwing up, which shocks Bernie, which leads to Bernie being suspicious about Vanessa's activities, and more so when Vanessa lies saying that she was talking to Terry on the phone when in actuality she was talking to some boy, which a lot of people would see Bernie as being overprotective, but considering the teen culture going on now, I digress. Which leads under the suggestion of his friends to pretty much set up a spy camera on Vanessa, which he goes to the store, this technology store, ran by Snoop Dogg, who gives him a teddy bear camera. A teddy bear with a camera hidden inside of it, which he is spying on Vanessa, but that proves short-lived when Jordan decides to use the teddy bear camera as a paintball target, which leads to Bernie using high gear, namely security cameras, to spy on the children. And the first person he catches was Vanessa. He winds up busting Vanessa wearing suggestive clothes just to go to the mall, in which he pretty much tells Wanda and has Vanessa zip down her jacket, which Wanda tells Vanessa to go back to her room. And it cuts to a montage set to what you see is what you get. in which Vanessa is caught trying to steal a ring from either an earring or a bracelet from Wanda's jewelry box. Jordan tried to set off explosives in the trash can, only to be thwarted by Bernie pouring water on, dousing water him, and Brianna getting caught trying to eat cookies. In the family, they're stifled from pretty much Bernie spying on them, even though they don't know that, and they want to make fun of Bernie behind his back, which is also caught on camera in regards to his bowling outfit. The next episode, while Bernie catches Wanda and a friend of hers chatting, and Wanda admits to the friend when the friend compliments a ring that Bernie gave her. Wanda admits to her friend that she gave up some jewelry that Bernie gave her because she didn't like it, which wound up hurting Bernie's feelings. And then the next day, after the kids kept pestering him, he winds up revealing to the family that he has been spying on them, which causes them to give him the cold shoulder. And Bernie laments to him back at how he's been overdoing in regards to pretty much not chastising the kids, but trying to look out for the kids, which he caught, and when he winds up catching Vanessa on camera with a boy, he winds up walking between them. But my favorite part of the episode was the montage, especially where Bernie thwarts Jordan's attempt to set off explosives in the trash can. And then the second favorite episode from season 4 is You Don't Know Squad, where Vanessa, she's been doing well with has been doing well with grades, but the problem is she doesn't have an extracurricular activity to join. And she finds one in the Spirit Squad, which is some cheerleading squad that dance right before the school games. And Bernie becomes joyful for Vanessa up until he sees the group's dances. Then, meanwhile, Jordan is doing some school fundraiser thing, selling these cookies, which is pretty much a rehash of the Drewby episode where he lists Brianna and her school friends to pretty much sell the cookies for him, when upon realizing that they're willing to buy the candy, the cookies, or whatever Jordan was selling, if they have a cute face, namely a young cute person to sell them. And Brianna is shown selling them during the school game. Then Vanessa and his brother Scar, they start performing, and their performance goes off great up until they started stripping off to reveal these two-piece outfits that leave little to imagination, even though they're somewhat teen. Namely, Vanessa, the girl, is wearing a tank top, a halter tank top, while wearing a mini skirt. And the routine is also suggestive as well. The dance is also suggestive as well. And during the whole, which wound up disgusting Bernie even more so when some of the audience members are cheering. Then Bernie and the family, they have a conversation. They wind up Bernie shows concerns about this to Vanessa while they're driving their way home with Vanessa, with Wanda adding how the performance was a little bold. Then when they get back home, Wanda suggests to Bernie that she take it up with the parents' council, which he does. During the meeting, the parents' council, they discuss. Bernie takes up with the parents' council. The parents, they're way too concerned over their kids getting good grades or getting to a good school, rather their kids dancing around wearing some suggestive outfit. But Bernie does get through the parents, which leads to the Spirit Squad routine being modified. And in the next game, they wound up doing the modified version routine, though Vanessa winds up reverting back to the old suggested dances, which leads to Bernie pulling her out of the show and Bernie being booed. Which I'm really starting quite like, y'all were okay with these teenage students doing suggested dance moves and suggested clothing, but when they let's end it there. And Vanessa wanted to see this as Bernie controlling her life to the point where she gets a cut of Jordan's proceeds to pretty much go back to Chicago, though Bernie thwarts her. And speaking of Jordan, Brianna and her school friends, they wound up ditching Jordan thanks to Jordan being hard on them for not getting enough sales. And that's my 2 cents on You Don't Know Squad. The hilarious part of the episode was Bernie's reaction to the dance moves, in which he states, "The hell is that? Who's the choreographer?" Janet Jackson, because of the suggestive dance moves, which, if you really think about it, Bernie had a right to be concerned fact. The Spirit Squad dancers, they're all teenagers, and the school's okay with these teenagers dancing and doing these suggestive dance routines, dancing in suggestive outfits like a mini skirt and a halter top. Elite. But then again, this is a 2000s high school, and things were probably slightly more different in high schools of now. And now, let's get into Season 5. In Season 5, there's a lot of changes with Season 5. There's a lot of things happening in Season 5. Namely, Vanessa's about to go to college. Jordan somewhat becomes mature. Brianna is attending the same school as Jordan. And also, the real Berniemac's health issues also starring the show. And my first favorite episode of the Theberniemacshow is the 5th season is the big payback, where Bernie has Vanessa work for him upon finding out that Vanessa used $200, the $150 or $200 he gave her to buy these expensive shoes. And pretty much Bernie has Vanessa work for him to pretty much learn the value of work. Like, the hilarious part about the first half of the episode was Bernie being imagined as a human ATM, which is really rings true. But Vanessa, she barely learns her lesson working for Bernie, because of the fact she gets hit to by Bernie's secretary, Karen, played by Karen Melina White, and I'm calling her Karen because of her actress name is Cameron. Bernie's secretary hips her to pretty much calling and ordering things under Bernie's name, which Vanessa does, getting a lot of things, but this attracts the attention of Jordan, and Jordan used this to order a bike. And Bernie, when the bike gets delivered, Bernie finds out about this due to Jordan confessing and allowing them to take the bite back, much to Jordan's chagrin. Edie winds up punishing Vanessa even more by having her work after hours and pretty much have her clean the Mac man. Then Vanessa's friend, played by the late Naya Rivera, to be specific, pre-Glee Naya Rivera, pre-Glee Naya Rivera, because people forget that Naya, before Glee, Naya has been acting since she was a kid. But Vanessa and Naya Rivera, they decided to go out with the Mac, with Vanessa taking the Mac man with her, but they want to get involved in a car accident, which leads to the Mac man being destroyed. And when Vanessa comes home, she has Jordan repair the Mac man for her. Seeing how Jordan repaired a lot of things at home, like the broken vase and the Dizzy Gillespie statue, which is 50% half Dizzy Gillespie, half G.I. Joe. And it cuts to a montage of Jordan fixing the statue, the Mac man, which the Mac man needs to be fixed, but it needs to be dried, which Vanessa, it can't be dried every time because Bernie needs the Mac man for a photo shoot. And during the photo shoot, the Mac man breaks apart, which upsets Bernie to the core, and the episode ends with Bernie crying over the Mac man getting destroyed. And then the second and last episode of mine for season 5 is Prison Break. And in the episode, Bernie starts, when Rihanna gets caught forging Bernie's signature in a report card, and Jordan gets caught groping a nun, trying to touch on a crush of his, considered thereto by his friends. Bernie winds up punishing them by grounding them, but when they start sleeping on grounding, he decides to pretty much punish them more by remodeling their rooms to remove any of their consoles and stuff, given with Brianna being left with books to simplify the report card thing, and Jordan being left with a Bible since he grew up the nun. Meanwhile, Bernie thinks that Vanessa's up to something with Bernie finding a name tag that says Howard and the beach blankets. Then Jordan and Brianna want to get into it, which leads to Brianna snitching on Jordan for Rice Krispie treats. And Bernie gets caught thanks to Brianna, which leads to Jordan being put in the basement. But Brianna doesn't get Rice Krispie treats, with Bernie telling her, "I don't make deals with stupidians." Jordan gets found by Wanda, who winds up chastising Bernie for punishing the kids, since she wants the kids to attend the Damien Funfair event, which they do, sends Vanessa. And during the Damien Funfair event, Brianna wants to win a stuffed toy in the ring by playing ring toss, which she winds up running out of the free ring tosses, which leads to her asking a random stranger for $10 so she can win her stuffed animal, which she does. Then Jordan decides to set up some legal card game to win money, which get caught by one of the organizers. And Bernie spends the entirety of the fun fair trying to see if the kids are up to trouble. But eventually they get caught by Aunt Wanda thanks to the stranger who knows Wanda telling, expressing shock that Brianna was her niece since Brianna was the one asking for them dollars. And then the priest that caught Jordan telling Wanda about the game he set up, which leads to Wanda chastising them. Meanwhile, come to find out, Bernie's suspicion about Vanessa was correct, since Vanessa was throwing a pool party with her friends, and the Howard guy in question was acquaintance of hers. But she winds up ending the pool party early, winds up cleaning up everything, making sure that nothing was out of sight, and even drying the wet footprints, and pretty much have an alibi by them studying. Because which Bernie walks into the room seeing them doing. And Bernie discusses how he put some special liquid that's invisible and naked eye in the pool, which leads to Vanessa's friends confessing, and Vanessa claiming what Bernie said about the liquid thing was cap. The solution thing being cap, which Bernie curb stomps her figuratively by using the glow-in-the-dark thing to confirm that Vanessa had a pool party. And the segment in the episode ends with Bernie bragging to Judge Babylane about him catching the kids, which Judge Babylane says is unfair. And the episode ends with the kids all in the basement eating oatmeal, being punished for their actions. Which, the one hilarious part of the episode was pretty much the kids' actions. Namely, Vanessa being caught and Brianna snitching on her brother for Rice Krispie treats and chocolate milk. And as we all know, the season 5 concluded with the series finale, which was Bernie's Angels, where Bernie suffers a near-death experience after getting electrocuted by the microwave, with the kids trying to microwave some big aluminum foil, which is a big no-no. And in his near-death experience, he had a dream where the kids were at his funeral, where Vanessa steals the keys to his car, while Brianna and Jordan try to steal his ring, which leads to him haunting them. And this near-death experience leads to Bernie being a lot more nicer to the kids, which leads him mentoring Jordan on manliness, and Jordan taking away his kindness, getting an iPod, him trying to help out Vanessa find a college, though she shuts him out, then him mentoring Big Girl. And the episode ends with Bernie learned that he was the person that Vanessa paid tribute to in her essay, and him stealing the iPod from Jordan during his final monologue. And now, in regards to the honorable mentions of the episodes I didn't choose, which are Back 101, the episode where Bernie tries to make the kids more culturally inclinated, having Brianna speak Spanish, Jordan play the piano, and have Vanessa focus on her studies. My favorite part of the episode was Jordan playing the piano and Bernie yelling to Jordan, "La me la policía, until Jordan stops playing the piano. Here to stay, where Bernie comes to terms with the kids staying with him and him giving rules to the kids. Now, my favorite part of the episode was namely Jordan running away when Bernie chastised him for getting the generic brand inhaler just so he can buy a telescope. And he only bought the telescope just to see Sears Tower, or Woods Tower as they now call it. Then A Christmas Story, where the kids take care of this angel dog this angel dog, and Bernie pretty much keeps the dog away from them, though he winds up getting the dog back when they scare him away. Goodbye Dolly, the episode where Brianna cries over a doll, and Bernie spends the entire episode trying to get Brianna to depart from the doll, which culminates in Bernie having Jordan destroy the doll. Then there's the Thanksgiving episode where Bernie becomes upset about and concerned about the influence Mr. Diggs has on Vanessa when Vanessa decides to be vegetarian. My favorite part episode was the Thanksgiving dinner scene where, in the aftermath, where Jordan gave Mr. Diggs' son some treats from the doggy bag, from the Thanksgiving doggy bag, and due to Mr. Diggs' son being raised as a vegetarian, he winds up growing up from eating meat. In the family reunion episode where we meet most of Bernie's extended relatives. The first episode was when Carl makes snipes at Bernie probably raised the kids, Bernie revealing how Carl was the one that was supposed to take care of the kids, and Carl ran out of the courtroom. Welcome to the Jungle, where then another episode, honorable mentions, Welcome to the Jungle, where Jordan and Brianna goes tit for tat when Jordan kills the pet rat that Bernie gives her by feeding her to his science experiment snake. And the funniest part of the episode was the chase scene with Vanessa, the super predator, when they destroy Vanessa's science project. And Jordan shutting the window on Brianna's head Brianna's hand when Brianna was harassing him over the snake. Then another element, then there's Sun Cup, where Jordan becomes more religious when Bernie chastises them for drawing a picture of Jesus juggling. Then another episode, United Front, where Bernie enlists Wanda as part of his United Front to pretty much be strict on the kids when he calls out Wanda for being not passive, for being lax on the kids, even more so when Vanessa went out to her friend's house wearing thong panty liners. And then the honorable mention is Man-Child Vanessa Land, where Vanessa has a boyfriend that Bernie initially approves of until he finds out that said boyfriend has a child. And the relationship might not work it out, which leads to Bernie fearing that the boy may impregnate Vanessa. Though the relationship between them wound up working out anyway, since he wound up going back to the mother of his child. And the last two episodes is my privacy. The last two honorable mention episodes is my privacy, where Bernie has the house rebuilt to build a room for Brianna when Brianna catches him taking a shower, and him finding out that Brianna also sees Jordan's privacy, since both him and Jordan share a room together in Car Wars, the episode where a lot of things was happening. First, Jordan's friend, they got dropped off at their house under the ruse that they were going to some Star Wars convention, when in actuality they were going to a Black Eyed Peas concert. And everything pretty much going Ari afterwards. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed what I listed. In conclusion, The Berniemac Show will always be one of my favorite childhood shows, childhood sitcoms, alongside Half and Half, Everybody's Chris, and other shows I've watched. And it's also a very underrated sitcom. Like, The Berniemac Show doesn't get the flowers it deserves, and it feels like Bernie Mac, when Bernie Mac passed away, he's like treated as a footnote, despite the fact that he starred. Not only was that he starred in a lot of movies, he was in the Transformers franchise, the first movie of the Transformers franchise. He was in Ocean's 11 remake, Bad Santa, Mr. 3000, Head of State, Pride, Guess Who, among other works. But this show does deserve to be remembered. And the briefing of in the next podcast episode, with each new podcast episode I'm doing, I'm also doing a new listicle episode. And this week's listicle is Worst Celebrity Appearance, which is based on observation and what's been stated over the years. And in this podcast as I pretty much list to discuss a lot of horrible celebrity parents. And by celebrity mothers, I mean, to be specific, by celebrity mothers, I'm not referring to celebrities or mothers. I'm referring to mothers of well-known celebrities who have done who either pretty much mistreated their kids during their childhood or done a lot of questionable things in regards to their children, to children's well-being. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to like and follow this comment and follow this podcast. This podcast is available on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and other available platforms. Also, be sure to follow this podcast. Also, be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram with the pages Conversations with Zalia. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. I'll see you guys. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.